Welcome back to the M3 podcast. This week we got the whole crew on here with our new intros. We are not hitting the boring old intro that we had. We now just kind of go into a quick background of the people that are on. We got Todd Gentry on again. We got Jaime Tuff. We got Justin on. So, backstory, been friends with Todd for a long time. Connected in the car business. Jamie and I worked side by side for a long time in the car business, and I also worked with Justin and stayed friends with all you guys since. So today we're just going to discuss, one, I got 4 of these bourbons that we're going to taste test as we go through the podcast, minus Justin. And we're going to talk all things cars, everything that's happening in the space right now. I know the space has changed a lot here recently, and kind of go from there. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right. And Justin also is the man that certifies everything for big guys.
That's right.
So he's gonna tell us at the end of this podcast if this table and this podcast is big guy certified.
If I can't sit in it, I'll let you know.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can sit on this table. It might go down. It's a little wobbly.
I'm not going to sit on the table.
Yeah.
We're good.
But on the bourbon side, we're going to start off. I got this Ancient Cave collection from Holiday. We got the whole 4 releases of it. I don't know which one came first, so we're just going to start one way and go across. Okay? So, what?
Justin can smell it.
Yeah, Justin can smell it.
Can you?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to?
Hell yeah.
He's allowed to smell it. What's
Maybe we should talk about why Justin can't have the drink.
Yeah,
I think that's
For a little
good.
second.
I think that is too.
Quick
Well, hey,
intro
let's
to
just start it
Justin.
out there. You
Yeah,
know?
let's start off why Justin can't have a drink.
Let's just get it out there.
Yeah, so no one's confused.
Once upon a time, I used to have what you call a little bit of an addiction. I'm on parole, so I can't be drinking, especially not on video. So, but you know,
And he does not drink off of video. Just we
No.
all know this.
Yeah.
no drinks for me. But you
Is-
know what? Maybe one day, I'd love to have a drink again.
You're actually a pretty good time sober, honestly.
Thank
You
you.
are.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
That's just kind of a good time all the time.
Totally
Yeah.
a different guy when I'm not addicted. You know? Yeah. Different guy.
There's definitely a difference.
So where did this story start once upon a time?
Well, you know, grew up in a small town, you know, Lawson, Missouri. You know, and was a country boy, really. You know, ran into a little bit of meth addiction, right? And, you know, I'm not afraid to tell my story because it made me who I am. So I went through a lot of time, probably 16 years addicted to methamphetamines. And so I got in a few car chases, a couple of possession charges, you know. One leads to the other, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, you're looking out a little window in a 9x9 cell and wondering, man, what could I have made out of my life, you know? And then 2019 came around, I met Jamie, kind of changed my life, slipped into a little more trouble there, had to slip up, but you know what? I'm back. I've been clean and sober May 12th, 2021. So,
Congrats to that.
yeah. And I wouldn't be who I am today without, you know, going through those tries. You know?
I think it was pretty funny. I remember the first day you came into TDR and your brother had been buying vehicles up there, and you end up talking to my dad. And I remember sitting in a meeting first thing in the morning. Justin comes walking in. I'm like, I think this guy's looking for service. Got to be looking for service. And you're like, no, I'm here to sell cars. I'm like, what? Like, come again? But it was just one of those things that I think a lot of times people pass judgment. You come in, tatted up all down the arms and everything.
Got them all.
But it's also one of those crazy traits that I think I learned from my dad. I think it was something I learned from Jamie too, is like never pass judgment on the way someone looks. And it was after
You remember those shorts that look like the biggest tablecloth I've ever seen.
You know, so
I actually said that.
So I interviewed with Jamie. He
Yeah.
wasn't going to give me the job, and he asked me a final question. You know, he said, "What's your plan if I give you a job here?" I said, "I'm just here to make friends and sell cars," and you know, that's where it started. So I'm glad he gave me the chance. You know, so
yeah, I think it was one of those things after you started, it was very much like the character that you carried around and the energy that you brought. And it was just it was, you weren't scared of anything, which that was what most salespeople were scared of when they came in. You're like, what, pick up the phone. The phone's not going to bite you.
Yeah,
like,
no.
and they looked at that
I love
phone
the
like
phone.
it had 8 legs, and they were like, I'm not getting near that thing.
So
I
other
love the
than your
phone.
brother buying cars there, what led you to TDR?
You know what? I was talking to my old lady one day, sitting on the couch, being a loser, right? I'm like, you know what? I think I can sell cars because, you know, before my grandparents, they had a car lot, you know, and I did a little thing on the side here and there. And I knew that, you know, I'm a people person, you know, and I thought, you know, I told her I could sell cars, you know. I was like, I got a calling for it, you know. She's like, yeah,
Did
right,
you used
yeah,
to sell
right.
things before that?
It was on, yeah, I sold drugs
Oh.
before that. But,
I was just curious. Just curious. Were you good at it?
turns out there's more profit selling cars.
Are you sure about
Yeah.
that?
Well, you know, I'm not addicted to cars, so you know, I drive an old beater, you know, an old beater with a heater. So I'm not really addicted to cars. I just love the sell. I love to meet people, you know. But
And how long had you been on the couch before you did that?
well, I just got out. So let's see here, 2019. I got stabbed in 2017, 14 times, fighting for my life there for a little while. I think I went to county for about 6 months, and then I think I got with my old lady in the middle of 2018. I was sitting on the couch for about a year and a half.
I mean, you just
Wondering-
kind of breezed over that like it was
Yeah.
just like no
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah. Well, I was trying. So what I was doing is I was going to file for disability, and I'm thinking, man, really, you're going to file for disability and settle for $500 a month the rest of your life? And I seen on Indeed, TDR was hiring. So I
Holy shit! I
filled
think
out
that
the
might be the
application.
first successful Indeed ad.
I filled
Holy
Holy shit! It worked!
I
Oh
filled
my
We are
God.
not sponsored by Indeed.
No way, shape, or form is this a sponsorship.
No, but I filled out the application and I wouldn't leave Jamie alone. He's like, man, just come in for an interview. So it was the rest was a wrap, I guess, you know.
I actually didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah.
Wow, it works.
Yeah. The old lady, she didn't have any faith in me at all. She's like, you can't sell anything. You're a horrible drug salesman.
How long had you been with her at that
so
point? Because you got stabbed in 17, so were you
so-
guys together then?
we got together. No, we got together in the middle of 2018. You know, then I went away for a little while, got back, went back and got her when I got out, and then just been here ever since. You know, he can't get rid of me.
So I do have
Sometimes.
one question that I never asked of all the years of us working together and everything.
Yeah.
Is what was the talk is cheap tattoo? When was that acquired?
That was during the arm wrestling stint when I was doing a little arm wrestling. You know what I mean? It was the first thing that they would see when I was doing the arm wrestling. You know, it was amateur arm wrestling. I kind of went with that. I don't know why. I'm just,
Because day one, Justin sits down for sales training. When he sits in that room, he sits like this. I'm like, this dude's got talk is cheap. Oh my
hey,
God.
talk is cheap, buddy. You know,
I was like, I love it. I was
Yeah.
like, every bit of it.
yeah.
But no, I think that once you started selling cars, you were very understanding on learning. You were very open to learning. I think that's where a lot of times people get compressed in a box where they're not willing to learn. They're not willing to listen to somebody. And we had a lot of people come in that were too good to listen. They knew more than anybody else, and they were scared to talk to people. And everybody you talked to loved talking to you, loved you became friends with them. And that was, I feel like that was way more important than any amount of sales training you can go through, is learning that ability. And
I
that's
was never
it factor.
afraid to ask a question. You know what I mean? Never afraid to ask a question. Still to this day, I ask too many questions probably. But you know what? Got to learn somehow, right?
I mean, I'll be sitting there talking to Jamie, and you come and ask questions, and
Yeah.
you about
Out
to
of
blow
breath.
Jamie out of his
Hey,
chair.
Jamie.
So
Yeah.
it's been since 18, 19.
I started in October 2009.
5 years.
No, you know what?
I
Actually,
still
one
love
of
the death.
one of the funniest TDR stories I have was when Justin first started.
I was waiting.
Justin starts, and the first thing that Jamie and I both tell him is like, "You do not let a customer leave here
They wasn't
without,
leaving.
yeah, without
I heard
talking
this
to
one.
one of us." That's the only rule. We're like, they do not leave without talking to us.
Yeah.
He's like, "All right, got it."
Got it.
So we're sitting in a meeting in my dad's office. We're sitting there. Justin comes barreling back there. He's like,
Yeah, there you gotta get
breathing
the
real
breathing
heavy.
part.
I'm
Get
like,
the breathing part in
and
there.
like breathing super heavy. And we're like, Justin, what's wrong? Like, I'm thinking something's wrong out on like somebody's hurt or something. He's like, this lady needs to talk to you guys. I'm like, why are you running here? Like, he's like, I got her blocked in. She can't leave.
That was the best.
He took our car and
Yeah.
put it right behind her
Yeah.
so she couldn't leave.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that was good.
And we went out. I was like,
I remember your dad
like,
goes, "You can't do that."
and Jamie and I were like, we did tell him
We
that.
did it. Don't let him leave.
Uh,
Yeah. That was awesome.
We ended up, she ended up buying a car.
Yeah.
But no, it was just hilarious.
Couldn't leave.
Yeah, she couldn't leave. No, but if we told you something, it had to be very, we couldn't joke
I wasn't
around.
afraid to do exactly what you told me to do.
I know. So that's where like Jamie and I
Definitely
like
know
had
you're not
talk.
afraid.
No.
We know that.
We're like, hey, we need to make sure like if we say something that we're joking, that we clarify that we're joking.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But no, so
Real quick, this is amazing.
that is good.
This is very good.
Double oaked.
That's the double oaks.
Great.
Who is this?
It's
Holiday.
the holiday distillery.
Holiday, great job.
Yeah. I actually had no earthly idea about these. Some dude sent it to me on Facebook, and then I was like, I'd go with it.
So is this Whiskey Wednesday and?
No, this is just a podcast with some people that also like drinking whiskey, so we just
All right, bet.
did it all.
Whiskey
Love it.
tasting.
Yeah, whiskey
like it.
tasting.
Yeah.
So where's Ben Holiday distilled at?
Weston.
Weston.
Oh,
What's that,
good
20
old
minutes
Mo.
here from?
All right.
The McCormick's distillery bought them, correct? Yeah. Dalton's the guy with all the facts over here.
Dalton is
Very
high in
factual.
facts.
Factual.
That's 100. The first one was.
Really good.
So now we're on to
It's
smokes.
amazing.
Let me smell it.
I think they're all
It
100
smells
proof.
good.
It smells good.
It does smell good.
Taste
Yeah.
well. A couple more months. You
Can't
can
taste it. Yeah. By the way, cool fact. I'll be off of probation and parole in March for the first time since 2012 with no pending charges.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Clap on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty excited.
Don't sniff this stuff too hard.
Yeah,
No,
don't sniff it
no.
too hard and get in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah.
So
That'd be a horrible thing to get in trouble for.
I was actually listening to
Sniffing alcohol. Yeah. What are you in
Damn
for?
it, I'm back in for another year.
I smelled some alcohol. They locked me back up.
So I was actually listening to a podcast the other day that guy was talking about addiction.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think a lot of times when people are having conversation, it comes from two ways of two people experiencing it. And it's something that like I've always known in my lifetime that I have a very addictive personality. So it's like, I think most people that know me know the way that I run, but it's like, why do you think that caught you up? And what was like the high that you were chasing with that?
You know, it was the lifestyle. So growing up, there was a lot of it around, and I hated it. Right, I seen my friends doing it, and I'm like, fucking idiots, you know. And I tried it, and I was like, you know what, shit, it's pretty good, you know. I think I'll try it again. Next thing you know, it's an everyday thing, and addiction's a real killer. Man. I'm lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
You know, I thank God every day. I'm a Christian now, baptized Christian just recently. So, go to church every Sunday and just pray to God and thank God that I'm alive still. You know, 'cause a lot of guys didn't make it out.
How old were you when you took your first?
21. I started smoking marijuana young, then drinking, and then next thing you know, 21 years old is probably when I tried the meth. So.
Because I do watch it, and it's something that like I knew in my life I just had to stay so far away from it.
Yeah.
When I got to college, I started seeing a whole different level of drugs around myself and everything like that. And I always knew that like I was actually just talking to Ricky today about this. Like alcohol is something that I did have a problem with at one point, but it's like I proved to myself the discipline level I had that I didn't drink for a while in college, and it wasn't like I still do it here and there just to prove to myself that I can do it. That it's like, hey, like this doesn't hold anything over me. Is it something that I enjoy? Yes, but I'm not addicted to it. And it's like I know that the addictive personality, like once you latch on to something, it's just like a continuous chase, and it's.
Once you're putting something first, you know, if you're putting something first in your life above, you know, your career or above God, above your loved ones, whatever that is, it's a serious problem. You know, and it's sad that it's getting pushed on these young kids, and you know, even with this fentanyl crap, which I thank God I never got.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a serious illness, and it needs to be addressed at some point at the government level of how this crap's getting.
Yeah. And it's, I think that there's so much of it too that's being created in bathtubs. It's, I mean, it is a problem.
Huge
But
problem.
it's also, I don't think a lot of times it's talked about. I think it's a lot of times it sweep it on the rug that there's times that you know somebody's in a bad spot. You know somebody that's, I think sometimes it's if you haven't been in that situation, you feel that you can't speak on it. So it's like, I always struggled on that in college. Like, I didn't do it. So it's like, how can I speak on behalf of that? Where it's like, somebody could be taking a bad path in life, but it's like, how do I help them? Like, and I still don't know the answer to that. And it's like, I work really hard on the people within the walls of MMG. How can I help them move forward in life? And I think that's the same thing that Jaime did with you. That, like, I had a lot of conversations with Jaime during that time when you did fall off the wagon.
It really, and the thing is you can't help somebody until they're ready to accept the help. You know, at a point in time, Jaime was willing to help me during that period of time, and I wasn't willing to accept his help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now it's like I look back on that, and I'm like, kept going, I wouldn't have been alive, and there's not a chance in hell that I'll ever pick it up again.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad because I don't know a whole lot of people that can actually say that, you know, that have been successful with recovery and have that frame of mind where I know, like, I'm not ever going to go back to that. I don't work a 12-step program, or I just go to work with these guys. I got a great group of guys that I work with. I got a great family. I got way too much good stuff going for me in my life, and making $7 a month sitting in a state penitentiary was not cool. And you know, I love where I'm at right now. So.
And I think that's the biggest key to all of it is being around the right people.
Absolutely.
I think your network that you hang around with, the people that, I mean, I credit that to all my success.
Absolutely.
It's the people I hang around with day in and day out is like, they shape my world of everything and my perspective and outlook. And it's, when you get good players in your corner, it's hard to, like, I feel like it's hard sometimes to even go down that pathway when you're like, it's
the right crew will never let you go.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, and I think
it
too,
helps they help shape your mind the way they think, you know, like, because when you're fully in addiction, you think everybody's doing it, right?
Yeah.
You go to, like, thinking everybody.
Especially when everyone around you is doing it, right?
So going around a group of guys like you guys, and it's like, definitely not. You know, like, so you know, it's totally different when you're not in that frame of mind, and you know, it's just
the whole attitude is atmosphere thing.
Yeah.
But I think
you just
part
gotta
of it
change
too,
your people.
like, you probably don't want to let the people around you down. Right?
Exactly.
You know, it's
100%.
yeah, they've never said they don't want you doing it or anything like that. But you're like, shit.
I've been to all these different treatments, all these different things, and none of that would have. I don't give credit to any of that because you have to be ready to change. You know?
Yeah.
I actually lead one of those classes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I know all the sayings and all that stuff. You know, change your people, places, and all that. But until you're ready, you know, to change.
Which I also think it's easier said than done. It's the same thing with, there's people that read books all day, every day that take no action on anything that they read.
Exactly.
That it's, I mean, you can sit there and rehearse it and everything else like that, but unless internally you really want it, it's the same thing I run into in work all the time, that we talk about it day in and day out, that I can't want it more for someone than they want it for themselves. And it's the hardest thing for me to, like, accept, because I want people to win so bad. That's like, I think it's one of my greatest traits and one of my biggest faults, because I sit there and I'll bet on people over and over and over and over, and I want people to win. But if people don't want it for themselves, like, you see it all the time too. And, like, it's hard that you watch, like, there's a guy on TikTok that, like, helped out this homeless guy that was addicted. He gets a place for him. He helps him do all this stuff. He gets him around the right people. He gets him a job. And, like, 4 weeks in, the guy's back on the streets doing the same thing. This guy wanted it so much more for him than the guy actually wanted it for himself. And it's like, it's hard because I don't know how anyone else's head operates. I don't know how Todd's head operates, Jamie's, yours. Like, and you sit there and it can make perfect sense in my head and it can make no sense in your head. And you can have a conversation with someone that you think you're making progress. At the end of it, you made it nowhere. So, and sometimes there's that switch that flips on, and I think it's the gratitude switch that you start looking at the world in a different light, that there's always going to be bad in the world. There's always going to be negative in the world. Last week, I had like 5,000 things going on. And I talked about it, I think, last week on the podcast, and I started listening to this guy's podcast, and his wife, his daughter, his brother, and his brother's son all died in a car wreck together. All of them were in this car wreck, and the only one that survived was his son. And I'm sitting there, and this happened in 2021 to this guy. And he has this podcast now, and he talks on it. He talks to all these people who have, like, been through these things. I'm like, this dude's living like a true nightmare. Like, if we think we have any problems, we don't have real problems. Like, I'm sitting there thinking about, like, oh, these couple people quit. We got to hire new people. We got to do this. And, like, the only problems I'm thinking of in my life are business problems. Right? And I'm like, the reality of what problems are is all how you formulate it in your head. Where I think sometimes also that leads to the pathway of people getting on drugs is how they formulate their problems in real life. And, like, I'm reading The Comfort Crisis right now. They talk about most people's problem on today's scale are things that the way I formulate it all the time is, was that a problem 200 years ago for humans? Like, pretty fast, if you can just formulate that quickly in your head, 200 years ago, would this have even been a problem for a person walking the planet? The answer is not. Right? The answer is most likely no. It's where it's like, it's pretty wild when you start thinking about that. That I don't worry about shelter. I don't worry about food. I don't worry about water. There's people out there in the world that do.
In America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even crazier.
Downtown. Yeah. I'm on a board for PAL that the first time we go there, they're talking about a pillow drive. And I'm like asking the girl next to me, I'm like, why they got pillow drive? Like, most of these kids don't have pillows. They come here every day. There's 80 to 100 kids there every single day where they can eat because they don't have food at home. This is 10 minutes from our office. Like, to where what people formulate as like real problems in the world is pretty absurd to me now. Like, and I think that's something where I think once that switch turns on and you realize what like real gratitude is, like the people that are around you that want to help, it's crazy. The world becomes yours almost immediately. You can then, you become the driver of your own ship again. You can take it where you want. So no, I'm beyond proud of everything that you've done to get to this point. And the other thing too is you don't hide behind any of it. It happened.
Made me who I am, you know. So,
But I think it also, watching you, also know selling cars is something that has always had a bad persona. I know a lot of great people that sell cars. I called Justin at 3:00 in the morning. He's going to show up. I don't even have to tell him what it's for. If I called you at 3, like, hey, bro, I need you at the house, you'd be like, on my way.
I would too.
Like, everyone at this table would do that for me. Yeah. But it's also like, I look at that as you get into an industry like that is hard. You get into an industry that a lot of people fail at. And then you just go headfirst into it and zero fear whatsoever. So with that, you've seen the car industry in a pre-COVID, into COVID, till now. What's your outlook on what the car space has done from when you started till now?
What's my outlook on it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really, the only thing that's really, I get a lot of, backlash on interest rates right now. I mean, basically, that's the huge thing right now, right? So, overcoming those objections is the biggest thing. 'Cause I never had to overcome those objections before. It was, the price of the car or whatever. But now you're fighting interest rates all the time, and interest rates are high on everything. So,
yeah, but the crazy thing is, when you started in 2019, they're not any different.
Well,
you don't remember that because in that little 1 year spot,
right,
we thought everything was coming down, and so we dropped rates to 1.99 on homes and 2%. But really, if you think about it, right before COVID, the rates were the same.
Yeah,
no one thought different about it. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The difference is that I see is the whole inventory shortage got a lot of salespeople out of the realm of selling, right? And overcoming objections or asking the right questions to see what fits their need. We got so used to checking keys and signing papers that we lost the selling factor.
I think watching the automotive industry from the outside in, because I always had the inside like viewpoint, that's what I was talking to Gentry today on the phone, that on any given Saturday, you guys sell more cars than somebody buys in a lifetime.
100%.
So it's like you get so, the process becomes so just normalized to you guys. Like, selling a car isn't a big deal. Like, it's just like, yeah, we're slinging metal. We're selling cars. We sold 15 cars today. We sold 20 cars today. Like, yeah, it's a good day. Like, that was 20 people's like second largest investment most likely that came through there. where it's like watching the car industry from the outside in. COVID, I feel like, was the first time ever in the automotive industry that vehicles became more valuable than customers. That I don't know if, like, I'm not going to say I'm old by any means, that I saw the car industry in the 90s or something like that, but I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I would have to say it hasn't. A little bit of history I do know. I don't think that ever happened. Inventory shortage where maybe, I guess, like maybe World War I, World War II, maybe because they started building everything before. But otherwise, I've never heard of inventory shortage.
Because I don't think, like, that was the crazy thing was when we were speaking to dealers from the outside in, and it's, well, we can't get enough inventory anyways. We don't need to market. We don't need to do this. And you saw these dealers pull back all the fundamentals, the building blocks that they'd worked for forever to build their stores. The sales training that always took place, these meetings that always took to evolve the people that held the walls together were pulled back. To where then it became, I also think the actual sales department became undervalued in that realm because it's like, okay, we can teach monkeys to sign papers. Like, it literally came to a spot that
everyone said that.
Everyone was jumping into the auto space. I'm gonna go sell cars, dude. It's fucking easy to sell cars right now. Same thing with real estate. Everyone went and got the real estate license. And like, now all of a sudden you see more real estate agents dropping off the map right now. And the funny thing is, I'll run into these people like, real estate market sucks right now. I'm like, Madison's putting up biggest year she's ever had.
Yeah.
Every year she's put up has been bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm like, and then they're like, well, economy's just in the shitter. I was like, I'm putting up the best year we've had. I was like, you get to dictate your outcome, but it's also understanding when you have those building blocks put in place, the economy is always going to shift and it's going to change. But holding true to what you do during those times, it's times that you get free market share. It's times that market share opens up and becomes cheaper. That's where the biggest, I see, like, biggest points of opportunity is when everyone else backs off. Those are times when you go to play offense. When everyone else goes to a defensive state, you move 20 steps forward. Where most of the time you're putting in that same effort to get 2 to 5 steps. But now everyone else backed off. They're not doing the sales train. They're not doing all these things. They're not going for outward client facing to try to do what they need to do to be the best dealership possible. And I saw it all over the place. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I'm like, I feel like they got to understand that this is going to end at some point. But they're thinking in a short-term game that it's like, we can run leaner than we ever have. We're making more money than we ever have. And then it's like, well, what's the backside look like? Right? Like,
the saying, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
A lot of boys right now getting slaughtered.
Exactly.
Because they're charging way overpriced. They're doing all the wrong things, right? And one of the great things about the move to Gary Carlson Ford is
yeah.
That's why we're still doing this. Everyone's doing this. What I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I've been there since during all that. So, I mean, like,
which I also
he would
feel
know
like,
better than me.
I also feel like knowing you guys, like, that was something that you already tried that one. You're just slacking over there.
Had that one.
That was good.
So have I.
Yeah,
What?
So have I. You handed it to me. I've already done that one.
You got 2 of that one.
All right.
You know, I mean, you're talking about COVID and stuff like that, and you know, it's all spot on. But
I'll go ahead and try that.
Okay, sorry. The defense and the offensive stuff is, you know, we tell people all the time, or not people, but our employees, like, you know, it's my goal to be the laziest guy in the business, you know, to be on the offense, right? So when guys aren't sending thank you cards and when guys aren't doing walk-arounds and building relationships and doing follow-up and stuff like that, that's something that we've always got to continue to do because it's so easy nowadays because everybody, you know, similar to what you're talking about with real estate, same thing with the car business. I mean, people are giving up, you know, because all of a sudden it got hard and those are the easiest times, you know, like you're talking being able to double your business and do all of these different things. It's so easy to do, but yet it's so difficult to do because you have to show up, you know, you have to, yes, we know for sure when you greet a customer, so that first impression, right? You have to greet them with a smile. You got to shake their hand. You got to make eye contact. You got to focus on what's important to them. That's easy, right? Anybody can do that. Like if you show anybody how to do that, it's very easy to do. People don't do it because they just got rejected. So then it's like, okay, well that sucks, and this is hard, and this sucks, but it's not difficult.
And we're going
and
through
that's,
it. I mean,
Yeah,
we're seeing
we
it
go.
right now.
Yeah,
It's-
we're 100%. You know,
But it's literally just like like we say, get back to the blocking and tackling. It's real easy. Right?
Yep.
It's just get back to the basics.
The
Find the
smallest
need and fill it.
things that I think that's what one of the biggest reasons that we have found the success in our space that we have is the smallest things add up to the big picture. And I think so many people, especially and I mean, we've even been guilty of it recently, that we get so high level thinking in our processes and our meetings about this is how this is going to operate. Like when I first started, I told Jamie, I'm like, we're not going to be those people that have meetings all the time. I was like,
Meetings
that's-
about meetings?
which we definitely don't have
Where's
meetings about
Gentry?
meetings.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a good meeting.
But it's like, I didn't understand the operational level. Like once we hit a certain spot, which like we have, my deal is like, if we're going to have these meetings, every single meeting we have has actionable steps to take out to the next meeting that have to be had before that next one. But all the small things that add up to the big picture, like you're talking about, right? The thank you cards, like you take, and that's where we talk about the multiplier of talking before that your first video that goes viral that has 180,000 plus views on a singular video on Instagram. That's Arrowhead Stadium sold out 3 times. Like when you think about that in like the grand scheme of it, that's like you standing in the middle of Arrowhead, 3 games with a microphone and get to talk to them for like a minute and a half. Like
Huge.
It's huge. Yeah.
Huge.
it's huge when you think about that as like a singular video, but then you think about all those small things that add up that, okay, if that gets you 2 car deals, okay, you can do that once a week. Now that comes out to 8 car deals a month that you're getting off of those. Now you're sending out your thank you cards to every single one of those 8 people that you just sold. And out of those 8 people, you just got 2 more car deals. So now you're at 10. And then it's like you start adding up all these little things that you do. And it's like when they come in, the meet and greet has to be spot on. Like I was so OCD. Like when Jamie and I sold cars, we had our vacuum set up and everything in the back. If there was a person coming to look at a car, I went to the back, I vacuumed it every single time. We pulled it up, we put new pieces of paper, and that piece of paper didn't have a footprint on it when they pulled up to look at those cars. And we were selling shit boxes.
Like broke down on I-35.
Yeah. Like, so if we go back, we get this fixed, you still in? Like,
Yeah.
but it's
Don't
like,
worry about it. We got you.
but it was just like the still the basics of what we did were there. And it's like, that's my thing is like, you can ask them that I'm so OCD about how clean our office is. When people walk around, that people in the office have to introduce themselves to whoever's there. Our waters have our logos on them. The folders to the way that they feel, to the print that they get, to the business cards that they get, to every single aspect of them walking through has to hold that standard. That it's like, we just redid all of our bathrooms. Like spending $4,000 on bathrooms, not sexy money. But our bathrooms kind of seemed like prison bathrooms there for a minute. And I'm like, it really like,
Bring Justin. He'll be able to judge that.
but the big takeaway was like, we're like, dude, the bathrooms suck. And I was like, I really don't want to spend money on bathrooms. But that experience that when they come through, it was missed on that. So it's like, you take it to where I always look at like when I come in, like normally Monday when I come in, I'm like, what if I'm a customer? What if I'm somebody that comes in here the first time ever? I sit there and I look at the Amazon box sitting by the mail thing. Shouldn't be sitting there. I look at the chairs aren't perfectly aligned and the pillows are messed up on the couch. We got a friend with us. Yeah. But it's like, freaks me out. Like going to check the fridge and it not being completely full of water for a client that comes in. Pisses me off. Going into the bathroom and there being a toilet paper roll that's empty. Pisses me off. Like going through and there not being paper towels in the bathroom. Pisses me off. Like I walk through the whole office and it's like, was it 3 weeks ago? I was like, we bought TVs, we hung TVs, and I told Alex, I'm like, I want where it has a schedule of everything that's happening at MMG every day, and it has like highlights of everything that's running. Within 24 hours, it was operational and running on all the TVs. I'm like, if I want somebody walking through, I want them to see the movement that's happening today. I want them to see examples of what we have. They have to see it. And it's like, when you focus on those little things in business, it adds up to a lot bigger picture. And I think in sales is like what taught me that so much, that I remember times we're out there with weed eaters and stuff, making sure that there's not weeds. Like that was probably my dad's biggest pet peeve was if there was weeds on the lot.
Yeah.
But like, I understand it now. Like
Right.
he instilled that in me at a young age. At that time, I fucking hated it. Like how anal he was on everything I did. But I knew it made me to the person that I focused on those little itty bitty things that somebody coming in is going to notice. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Where it's like, if you do those small things right, they know you're going to do the big thing right.
Well, that's exactly right. Right. So in our business, like a big thing is if the car is dirty or you missed a blinker bulb or you windshield wiper that's not done. Well, if you're missing little things, what do they do with the big things?
Yeah.
When in reality, we know the big things are taken care of because we want to make sure they're taken care of. But in a customer or whatever you're looking at, in their mind, they see a little thing missed. They're definitely missing a big thing. Right?
Yeah.
That's how they think.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what a better way to have this conversation, right? Because you're talking about all of this stuff. You walk around your office, you're like this and this and this, and this has got to be changed in an OCD. You can't tell your team, hey, the water's got to be full of fridge, or the fridge has got to be full of water. The TVs have to be hung straight. The couch cushions can't be messed up. All of these things, right? You can't just go and tell your team that, but you're rowing the boat in the same direction, right? Which then goes back into what you were talking about as far as getting clean and sober, right? It's easy for you to stay clean and sober because of the people that are around you. You know, no different than you. You're able to keep your fridge stocked because of the people around you, right? Because your attitude, you're all driving in the same direction. So it's just
team effort, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a team effort. And not only that, but like we also we're talking about like doing the little bitty tiny things. It's just insane to me. I mean, it's pretty good that you're here, right? And we're talking about, you know, you getting sober and doing those little things. And then the icing on the cake for me is you have to want it, right? So the people that need to be sober, right? They're not going to take the help if they're not ready to have the help. And it's the same thing with all of these little bitty steps we're talking about. We know what needs to be done.
My story's nowhere near over. I want more.
Well, you know what's got to be done to get sober, right? But it's the little bitty things, and you know that's exactly what we're talking about right now: the blinker bulb and the meet and greet, and the way the customer feels when they walk in. So it's kind of cool, you know.
Processes.
Yeah.
And this guy right here, he loves the process.
Yeah. Processes.
But I think it's something that's what I pay attention to with business owners that we partner with, and it's something that I feel the car business has such an opportunity to capitalize on, that during COVID, so many people laxed on so many different things. And right now there's so many of them that are grasping for lifelines, all these different directions, that they ran out their high paid people at a time when selling cars was easy and they were trying to capitalize on greed. And it's like, then all of a sudden they're like, okay, now we're in a spot where we need that person again. Now we're trying to refine that person. It took us how long to get to that position in that area that they were at. And it's like, so it's, you want to build that culture. You want to build that. I look at it now as when I go in, I'm going to say the new office, I really haven't had to like focus on those small things. Like those small things are handled. Like I check them still, but they're handled. And like one of the biggest stories I ever like, something that I remember my dad telling me about Gary Crosley was how Gary would come in early and make sure every single sticker was straight on every single car.
I've heard those stories, yeah.
That they were like, my dad was like, back in the day, he goes, Gary would get there before everybody every single day. He would drive that lot. And if there was a single sticker crooked on a car, he'd come unglued.
Well, if we'd ever, you know, we'd put the plates and stuff on at the front door.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget Gene, one of our great guys, him and Gary got along great or whatever, but he tucked the Crosley license plate frame off of the car when he put the new tags on. And he called down there and, you know, told him what he thought. He was like, no, you put that plate on there on every single car, 100% of the time.
Customers that say, you know, you got those certain customers, they don't want the plate on. They don't want this. I'm like, good luck.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I won't buy it I'm not going to deal with it if I don't have it on there. So you know what I mean. So,
But it's like you implement those things, it just becomes a non-negotiable.
right.
Yeah.
Like, and I look at that as just like you set a standard to how you do things. And my deal is like we set our standard. If somebody doesn't agree with our standard, we don't have to fucking work with them.
Okay.
Like, I'm fine with that. Like, if somebody doesn't believe in the way that we do it, that's okay. Like, and it's, I think that when you set that, people start understanding that's how it's done. I think sometimes you put processes in place. I'm dealing with the same thing. When I put a process in place, some people want to follow it, some people don't. And we've became very, very clear in the last couple of weeks. Like, something goes in place, you don't do it, you're fucking gone. Well, and it's like, it's as clear as
process
day.
is a process, right? And we don't know it's, again, the king of processes is right here. I love this guy for it. If we come up with an idea and we think it's going to work, we're going to process it. But we're not going to process it for a week. We're going to do 90 to 120, and we're going to make sure, okay, that process sucked. Okay, let's fix it.
Yeah, but you can't just change on the fly. You
can't change it.
You got to try it.
You got to run it out.
Because it's, if you have a word track to the customer, it's like, hey, every time I make this kind of phone call, I'm going to buy their car. I'm going to pick the phone up. I'm going to say this. The first call you pick up and you say that word track that you've thought about, and the customer says no.
Logan's
You don't
much
hang
better
up the
service
phone.
than Dre.
You don't hang up the
100%.
phone and say, you know what, I'm going to change my process because that didn't work
Yeah.
On that one person.
on that one person.
Now
You
that
got
don't work.
you got to keep trying,
Yeah.
right? But you can't just try in our line of work, right? In this particular example, you can't do it and just read off the piece of paper. You got to have a smile on your face.
Yeah.
You got to pick
Standing
up.
up, all the things, right?
What's so funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Right.
got to stand up. You got to make the call. You got to have energy.
It is crazy that I've always understood processes, but I've never like hyper focused on processes.
We were too busy working. It was me and you. And your dad.
Which the thing was, I think
And Justin. Sorry, I apologize.
I was
it's
working
like
hard too.
I feel like at those times that you're doing all those things, which actually one thing that I regret more than anything.
And Dre Moss was really good too.
Yeah. The one thing I regret more than anything, like when I was at TDR, was not listening to my dad. Like, I always thought it was a lecture. I didn't
It was
listen.
a great time, but you were a little bit younger.
I was immature. I was hard-headed.
You were immature compared to now.
Yes.
For an 8, 17-year-old, oh my God. Like, it was unreal. Well, when we started, he hadn't turned 18 yet.
Yeah,
When we started. He wasn't, when he was hanging signs on the building, he was not 18 yet.
At that point,
It doesn't matter now, Dre.
Doesn't matter
That
now.
was it was too long ago.
Too long ago.
Thanks, Dre.
But
Got me off track. But the kid, not what I'm trying to get at is we're 18, you're 18, you're 19, and we're going to car auctions with 500,000 people buying cars, and he's got a notebook with every single thing written down. He's got a plan. He might, if I was busy, he may have actually done mine for me. You're the most mature 18, 19, 17-year-old kid I'd ever met in my life. It was actually really cool.
You mean you weren't sitting at home playing video games and on your phone?
But speaking of which, Dre Moss was ranked, I believe, number 3 in the world in first Call of Duty ever made. So
Modern Warfare
maybe 2. Or excuse me, Modern Warfare.
Wow.
But
My guy.
Dad said he would be nothing doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was like, so where you're at now, looking back at it, right?
Which
maybe it's immaturity, but like,
which I think a lot of times when you're talking to people about like, what could you go back and change? And like, I would never go back and change anything about my story because it led me to where I'm at now. Just the same thing that Justin was touching on. My deal is I wish I could go back and be more mature to listen, to be more. I even feel like the first 2 years at MMG, I wasn't. I don't feel like until the last year I've probably gotten better at it.
Well, the first year at MMG was it'd be a little bit difficult. You started MMG, you sat in a lawn chair on a driveway for about
boozing
2
for like
weeks,
2 months.
Time. Like, world shut down.
Yeah,
that was neat.
But no, it's like one of those things that, and it's. I now see it I'm talking to people in the same spot that I was at a time, and I see the exact seat that my dad was sitting in. When it's like he wanted the best for me. He wanted me to move forward, and I was too hard-headed to accept it at the time, and I took it as a negative when in no way, shape, or form did he ever want me to fail, or did he want
Absolutely
me not to do well. But at that point, it was like I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the high level of business. I couldn't see it from the top side. And it's like now, I will say that's probably one of my greater strengths now is because I understand sitting in that spot, not being receptive to it. It's how can I help drive more people forward? But I think that
the worst thing really is, though, is realizing when your parents are right.
Yeah.
And then you become old. And shit, they're right. That's horrible.
It was, I knew
you have kids, and we want them to realize that, but you can't. So it's like a never ending.
I knew my dad was right on a lot of things. I've worked a lot more in my position of how to clarify when somebody doesn't understand, which that's where I was.
Presentation's a little better, maybe, or
well, it's
kind of better, but different.
Different. I feel like it was something that my dad was a very much a target at me that I didn't understand. I didn't see the full scope of work, so I couldn't get the full answer. Sure. And for me, I struggled trying to. We were talking on 10% of it when I didn't know 90% of the equation. So now what I've worked on doing is with the people that come in, and when I have issues with people come in, let me show you the full scope of work so you can make that assumption, and this is what I want to do to help you move forward. But now you
do this to get to this.
Exactly. Right? This is what's going to help us move here when we're putting these processes in place, because I think a lot of times where I struggle was when new processes were put in place. And now I'm running the exact same thing, MMG wise, when we talk about the process side. I wasn't a process person. We bring Alex on when we acquire Atkinson Media. He comes in. I thought he was going to be a content guy. Dude's a wizard on operations side. He's like, what's it look like when you hire a new person? I'm like, I don't know. I fucking shake their hand when they come in and say, welcome to MMG. Here's a computer.
Here's your spot. Get to work.
Yeah. But now he's like, he goes, you don't have like any like first day process, like a 30, 60, 90. I'm like, no, not at all. So first day or first like couple weeks, he comes in, he's like, what about this? So it's literally a 30-minute breakdown for a person on their first day, everything they're doing, them getting added to everything, an orientation, then meeting the marketing side, figuring out how our processes work on the marketing side, figuring out the content side, understanding what the whole system looks like, what the whole machine is, for when they move forward, they're not confused. Then they have a 30-day, a 60, and a 90 of what takes place in the first 60 days. This is where we're at. Or first 30, this is where we're at 60. This is we're fully operational at 90. So you have a 90-day period to pretty much get you fully up to speed. Then I'm like, he like presents all this, and I'm like sitting in my office. I'm like, dude, mind blowing. Like, this is cool. Like,
that's cool.
But it's when you look at that, that's being put in place. And then when we're changing marketing processes, we're changing content processes, I now see myself like through and through to where it's, I think a lot of times from your point, when you're putting those things in place, it's not selling what the process is, it's selling what the outcome is. And it's selling the outcome that's so far away that most people like, when I was rolling around today in the truck and we were talking that like most people just can't see, like Ricky and I were talking about, most people can't see 12 months at a time. And I think it's my hardest thing to understand is why someone can't. And I asked him, I was like, I don't know what it's like for my brain to stop. I don't understand what it's like. Like everything I think about right now is for 12 months from now. I literally never play in today's game. And I was like, we're watching this guy on a motorcycle sit there and like, dude's like, looks like he works at Taco Bell or something. Like, dude sitting at the light, revving it up, fucking on his phone and everything. And I'm like, am I doing it wrong? That guy looks like he's having a blast.
He's got it figured out.
I'm like, that guy maybe hasn't figured out better than me, because I'm sitting there thinking about like 5,000 things in my head that I need to be doing, that need to be handled, that needs to go in place next week and all this stuff. And this guy's not worrying the world. Just like, dude, I put my hours in. I'm on the bike going home. Like, I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, it's hard. Like, and it's, I think in the car business,
drives different, right?
It is.
At the end of the day, everyone's drives different. Everyone's happy. Our happy may be different than his happy. You know? I may or may not ride Justin a little bit harder than most, but because I know he can take it.
And he may.
I may be able to ride him harder than most because I love this guy to death, and I've always wanted good for him. Even when I was kind of on the fence of not even making sure he worked for us, right? Because I'm like, I don't know about this. But we gave him the opportunity, and I want to make sure he's successful, and that's why I chased him during those hard times, trying to bring him back into it. But everyone's drive's different, right? So the dude that's working at Taco Bell on his motorcycle, loving life, might be the 19-year-old Dre or 18-year-old Dre in a BMW M5, spinning it out, wrecking the thing.
Yeah, wrecking it.
But he was loving it.
Well, I think that's
I heard about that car.
Do you have your hand raised
Dre,
for
you
something?
have your hand up for a reason?
What was my turning point? Well, I'll tell you the truth.
so. Dre's question was, what was the turning point when you wanted to get sober? Why?
Well, it should have been. So we'll say it should have been
The
when
first
I,
time. The first
It
time.
should have been when I got stabbed 14 times and almost died. Was in the hospital for 6 or 7 days, and went, instead of changing my life at that point, went to a drug house on the way home, and continued. Turning point was my mom crying, having to like rub my feet because my body's falling apart. Probably didn't have much life left in me. You know what I'm saying? My feet were literally like rotting apart, right? And she's crying. She's obviously, I'm a mama's boy, right? And that really,
Gloria is amazing.
Gloria is
amazing.
she's a saint, you know.
Literally.
The turning point was watching myself fall apart and not having any control of that situation. And then, God blessed me by putting me in jail, back in prison, and bringing my life back with my fiance. And then I got my hernia fixed. You guys all heard about Earl, my hernia.
Old
Yeah.
Earl.
That thing stuck out like this, you know.
Yeah.
I had to get that fixed. A month later, I called Jamie. He said, "Come on back, let's see what you got." So, turning point was my life falling apart, and I was going to end up dead. So that's why I say I'll never touch it again. I'm actually scared to death.
Yeah. I think some things happen in life that you start looking at that you're on borrowed time.
Yeah.
That
Now I'm a hypochondriac.
You
dude.
might be
like
a cat.
I'm scared of everything.
Yeah, yours is much more intense, but like something happened to me in April. I'm not even going to go into it, but it was something that I feel like I'm on borrowed time now. Like it was something that I've never feared death. I've broken bones racing motorcycles, everything else like that. April is something that it happened, and it gave me like 3 more gears in my head to like move forward. That it was something that after that I got done, and I was like, I haven't been pushing it hard enough. I haven't been risking it enough. I haven't been pushing the envelope to be the person I'm supposed to be, that I feel like I'm on borrowed time now. Like, and it's hard when you hit that point. Like, and I was not in the hospital for 7+ days like you were. Like, so I think sometimes those are eye-opening experiences.
That, just the embarrassment of like, having friends like Jamie and Todd and you guys, and having to, one time you guys found me sleeping on the side of the road in my car. There was times when I was in wrecks and Jamie's hearing about it from his tow truck driver, that, and he's like, "Your guy's on the side of the road again. This time I think he's going to jail." Just stuff like that, the embarrassment over and over again, and just wanting to change myself is where I kind of took it out. So there was a lot of crazy stuff that I did, and I just wasn't a good person, and made me realize that I needed to be a good person. So.
Yeah.
Never the way you want to get it, but what a huge advantage you have over everyone else, or a lot of people, right?
I feel like it changed me into being a good person. So.
I mean, yeah, like the advantage. I mean, you've seen what the bottom looks like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It ain't very fun down there.
Yeah,
Right? So let's go. Let's keep going this way.
Everybody's rock bottom's different.
It is.
Mine was damn near death.
I tell everybody that when you navigate through life, you come to crossroads every single day. There's an easy road and there's a hard road. Guess what? You take that easy road day over day over day. There's going to be that day that you lay in that bed and it's all done. That story ain't worth reading.
Nope.
All I look at is that the day that day comes, I'm there. I don't care what day it is. If that's 35, if that's 50, if it's 65, if it's 75, that story better be worth fucking reading.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's every
You
day
only
when
get
I'm
one, right?
Exactly. So every day when I'm confronted with that easy road and that hard road, I don't know what the hard road looks like. It's the road that you can't see the end of. The easy road's one that you can see the whole entire path. You see the finish line clear as day. It's right there. You know the outcome. There's no discomfort in it. It's you took the hard road into, you don't know what the outcome is. It would have been really easy for you to take the easy road to say, hey, you know what? I know this life. I know going back to do drugs with these guys. I know what that looks like. I know what the outcome is. I can see the finish line.
They even give you a place to live for free.
Yeah, I can see the finish
3
line.
hots and a cot.
3 hots and a cot. That's
Yeah,
right.
but it's like that finish line that's where I die. Story's done right there. Is that story worth
You
reading?
either stay there forever or
Yeah.
die. Which is funny you say that because we're going to talk about a little time where these guys thought it was a good idea for me to get a dirt bike. That's exactly what that reminds me of. The easy path and the hard path. Oh, Jamie, get a dirt bike. This is going to be a great time.
It was a great time.
I
For
remember
you guys.
this.
Everyone else.
We got the dirt bike. I could not see the path because Dane is exactly what he says. He doesn't want to take the easy path. So we're going down the very first trail.
To be fair, that one was Tanner. Tanner was there. We
Your
followed.
fault for me getting a dirt bike.
Yeah.
I tried stopping this.
Yeah.
Dre, we don't want to talk about your motivational speaking, okay?
Yeah.
It was a
You
good
got
thought.
this, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah, get out of here.
It was a good thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6'4", 300 plus pounds. Yeah. Get a dirt bike. That'd be a great idea. Yeah. So
He said that trip you guys went on was the worst thing you
that
ever
story,
done.
all I could think about when you're talking about the easy and the hard path, and I'm like,
Push the bike the whole time.
is he kind of like poking? Like, no, I feel like he's poking at me. Hey,
Yeah.
let's take the path with the boulders as the entrance into the bottom of this, wherever the fuck we were.
It was like a stone path that was once made for
No,
walking.
boulders, bro. Like this fucking big. Like where the why?
It's made for walking.
Who did that? Why the hell would they even do
we
that?
go
to
down.
an
We're just
entrance
like
and to go
we're
buy
zipping
some
down this
trails?
hill and like now
Dane's like, that's fun as shit. Let's
Yeah.
go do that.
we like get down to the bottom. We're like, where's Jamie at? Like, and like just being on a
just
two
straight
wheels
fuck
since
off
we
with
were
that.
like born. It was just like,
Yeah.
I mean the nature of riding a motorcycle was completely different. We get down to the bottom. We're sitting down there. And I'm like, only people that aren't down there is my dad and Jamie. And
Thank God for Dirk.
yeah,
Jimmy,
You-
do this. Like,
Yeah.
all right, just keep going now.
so we
Can't
get
stop in front of me.
we like, I'm like, I can't even see him. So, I'm like- so I jump back on my bike and I'm like, rip up the hill, and they're like at this spot, and you're coming down this path and it has like a, I don't know, 4 or 5 foot drop. If you have speed, you just come down, you're like, bruh, like you jump off it right in the next corner, not a big deal. Jamie's standing there off his bike. He's looking at it. He's like, no fucking way. And I'm like, dude, we are 10 minutes into the day. Like, we just got.
No.
But if you've
That's
never
the
went
second
that
ride.
was-
Stop it. That was
that's
the
a big
second
deal.
ride. We
Yeah.
made it way further than that. That was the second ride.
Okay, second ride of the day.
And then you guys are at the very you're at the very bottom. Dre's like, I got you, dude. You're gonna do great, buddy. Come on. Fuck you,
So-
Dre. I don't need your fucking motivational
So
speaking
I'm
right
pulling
now.
up there. I'm pulling up there like, I'm going to help Jamie. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pull up there. I'm like, put my bike on a tree. You hear Dre down the bottom of the hill. And he's like, you got it, man. And then Jamie like looks at me and he has his helmet off. He's like, fuck you. And he's like, I don't need your goddamn motivational speaking. Just screaming. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the bottom. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
think Jamie's having
I
it
got
right
it.
now. So finally he gets down to the bottom and we're going through this like creek bed. It comes to a spot, this log's like falling. You got to go up like 10 feet and then come around it.
Bro,
and there's this
Well,
long.
one part was fine. Why do you gotta keep going?
There's this log that's sticking straight out like this. Like if you crash, it's gonna impale you. in
Yeah,
the
you're
side.
dead. Fucking
So
dead.
we get to it, and Jamie's like sizes out thinking he can like fit underneath it. I'm like, no shot. So I like go around it, and Jamie's standing over there. I'm like, you want me to ride around? And he's like, yeah. Just so I ride his bike around. He like
Fucking
climbs underneath this log.
I was sitting there telling him, I'm like, worst case scenario. He's like, what? And I'm like,
Best case, you make it. You're
Yeah,
good,
Dre
bro.
says that's happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
And then there's Dane and Dre and Cody and Dirk and jump off the log, put it down here.
I should have started at the sand dunes, maybe. Would
I
have been
don't
a little
know.
easier.
I thought we were just gonna ride those fire trails that was like a dirt road just going out of nowhere. I'm like, this is awesome. This is easy. Well, here's where we're going in.
I came back up that hill and I was like, hey.
Dre, I love you to death for it. I really
Yeah.
do.
I don't think we should go down this. That's an awesome.
Dre probably wanted to help you more than anybody there, and you yelled at Dre out of everybody.
He is the great motivational speaker that I will.
Yelling at me at the bottom, I was like, you know,
Fucking
I'm
crash.
like, fucking send it.
But
And then 10
that's
minutes
fine.
later, his bike exploded.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh, dude, you broke your fucking motor.
no, but it's fine. We're out there.
Read.
We're out there for a couple hours, and Jamie's like, He was like, dude, I'm cramping in places
Oh,
I've never
dude.
cramped before.
From my balls to my knee, I had a cramp. I drug my leg for 3 hours. Are we done?
Jamie's
Are we
right.
done?
We're all standing up like zipping through creek beds. Jamie has like one leg off his bike, sitting up. Like, trying to-
I still hurt. I literally still hurt. And I remember when you're finally done, we're going up this hill, and they're like, all right, we're going to go back. I literally Superman the bike, laid on that thing, all the way up the fucking hill, hold it wide open, and got right. I was first one to the campsite. I'm like, oh, thank fucking God. Got everything
Jamie
off.
gets to the back to the motorhome and everything. He sits in his lawn chair, and you would have thought that he'd just been on like a Navy cruise ship for like 4 months. Like,
It was horrible.
he sits in this chair like, I'm never getting on that thing if my life ever depends on it again.
It was pretty though. It was a nice
Back to
looking bike.
COVID.
Yeah.
Thank God for COVID, because I did wreck that. Dropped it that trip. Put a big dent in it.
I'm pretty sure like first time he goes out, first time he lays it over, hits a rock, just dents the whole pipe in. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's like, dude, I just bought it.
But because of COVID and lack of inventory, I made $2,000 on that dirt bike. Thank God.
See,
Never buy another one again.
We were
It's
helping
over.
you with a good investment.
Thank you very much.
No, but I also look at like when you read, I'm reading The Comfort Crisis right now, and it talks about how people just became so comfortable, pretty much never doing anything uncomfortable. And it's like doing things like that when you just become really good at doing things that are uncomfortable. It just makes it the norm that you can be. Like when I do something that's really uncomfortable work-wise or anything else, like a year and a half ago when I went out and ran a half marathon, everyone's like, that's fucking nuts. Like,
That was awesome.
I heard we're doing that again though.
I am. I'm actually halfway thinking about doing a full this next April.
I heard.
But it's just like,
Excuse me.
it's something that like most people don't like understand it, but like I like getting in that uncomfortable state. I like that me versus me fight. No
That's
one
how
else.
you grow.
Yeah, no one else knows the fight, but it's just like, how far can I push it? Most people have to have someone else push them to get there. It's like, just like your deal.
Yeah.
No one else can push you to get there.
Right.
That's an uncomfortable fight that you got to take on with yourself. When I ran that half marathon, as silly as it sounds, because there's a lot of people that run all the time, they can just go run and run.
Yeah.
I come out there 270 pounds. 3 miles in, my lower back felt like it was going to break. The last 3 miles up, my legs are cramped out to the nines. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, mile 6, I'm like, dude, I have a great life. I got the house. I got the company. I got the cars. I'm like, dude, life's good. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing out here? And I thought, like, I'm really thinking of myself just complete idiot, like, at mile 6. And then I'm like, way too many people showed up here for me to quit. And then like mile 8 hits, and then I'm like, I'm starting to get in my own head. I'm like, dude, you've never quit anything in your life. And then like mile like 10 hits, and I'm like, dude, I need to, like, health-wise, I need to stop. I'm like, health-wise, this is not good. Like, my legs do not feel right. Like, I'm going to tear something. But then it's like, that is when I entered this state of like, I don't know. It just, you enter in a whole different head realm of like, okay, this is me versus me now. This is the man in the mirror that I face every day.
Go hard.
Yeah, I was listening to a David Goggins book too while I was running, just so you know.
Props to you, man, because I volunteered to hand out water at one of those things one time. And my legs were killing me when I was over. I was like, dude, I'm never gonna hand out water at one of these things again.
Dude, mile
Silly, dude.
He's serious.
Yeah.
Mile 10.
We did it. Remember?
Yeah, for work.
Jamie was there too.
Yeah.
Mile 10, I come through and they hand me a handful of these gummies. Like, hey, you need energy? I'm like, yeah, that I could use all the energy you fucking got. And they hand me this handful of gummies, and I throw like 2 of them in my mouth. I'm like, I couldn't drink water when I was done.
Yeah.
I get done with I hit the finish line, they hand me water and stuff, and I was like, dude, I can't drink this. Literally, hour and a half after that, we go to a restaurant. I can barely walk. I go to this restaurant. I can't eat a bagel. I'm like taking a bite of a bagel. I'm like, what is wrong? Like, my body is not taking food. I came home and it was like 1 o'clock. I went to sleep. I wake up at 4:30. When I wake up at 4:30, I'm starving. So I'm like, I'm ordering Panda Express. So I ordered Panda Express. It gets here. DoorDash drops it off. I go to get on my bed. I can't stand up. I go up. I come right back down. And I was like, call Madison. She was downstairs. I was like, hey, I need you to grab a Panda Express. Bring it upstairs. But most people like hate that kind of stuff, and I live for it. Like, I love the uncomfortable state. I love just
You're
being
a
in that.
fucking
Like,
freak. That's the problem.
like
But it's good for you.
it's like one of those things that I don't know. It's the same reason that like the quote, the man in the arena. Like you look at it as how many of us would survive back in the days of the Romans and those times. Like what those people went through just on a daily basis to just survive is a whole different world. Like, and I think about that all the time. Like, yeah, we can become really smart in business. We can focus on mines are going to make us more money. Like that is something that the acquisition of money is not difficult anymore. Like once you figure it out, like that part of the equation is a lot easier, but it's like, I look at it more so as like mind wise, how do you challenge yourself to just continue to push yourself to that next stage that you know that you can do it, because confidence is all built in keeping promises to yourself. Like when you can push those things to yourself, self-confidence just erupts out of you. Like once I did that, I was like 270 coming out, running a fucking half marathon. Try me. Like, but it's like, it's a mental push.
Yeah.
I think that's just where most of the time people, their minds beat them in everything.
100%.
If you can get to where you can fight your own mind, game changes. You've done that.
I got way too much confidence. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of confidence in myself.
But think about what you've been through is where that came from.
Yeah.
You put a promise in place to yourself and you did it.
Yeah.
And you fought that man in the mirror every day. I tell everyone every single day, the only motherfucker you answer to is that person you look at every day. There ain't a soul out there that you answer to besides that. Yeah. There's a power above, everything like that. But like that man in the mirror is who you answer to. So it's like you beat him. Yeah. If you can beat him, you can beat anybody.
Well, on that same note, and I love that story because every month we have this same conversation now, right?
Every month. Every single month we have that conversation.
Because the second week of every single month, I have to have the same motivational speech with Justin. Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't get a car sold. I can't do this. I'm like, Justin, you do this every single month. Quit taking the break. Yep. It's that as soon as you can overcome that, dude, the world's yours. And my dad used to always say, it's like, you got the world by the balls. What are you going to do with it? Right? Yeah. Now that I'm older, I got kids, it's not me no more, it's them. And that's kind of where you're at, right? You have the world by the balls. What are you going to do with it? Right? And so, again, every second week and a little bit into the third week, I have that conversation. What happens every single month?
I saw like 8.5 cars in 3 days.
Exactly, right? So we know we can do it.
Right.
The grind's a little harder, and you put that stress on yourself every single month. At the end of the month,
matter of fact, I'm stressed out right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna finish out the rest. I'm gonna finish out the rest of the month.
You got 5 days left.
Go
time.
Right?
Go time.
And what's gonna happen? You're gonna do it again.
Yep.
You've done it every single 5 years. We've been doing this now, and it's always the same thing. So if you just can get past that mental block of the first couple of weeks, every single day is the last day of the month, and I got to do what I got to do while I'm here. It's so easy once you can just,
I did never have a really good work ethic instilled in me, and these guys try to always keep me focused when it comes to that. And I think, having a good work ethic is you have to see that, from like, I guess that's something that's bred into you through your fathers and through your mothers and all that. My mom, she was a great worker, hard worker, but I was a bully to her growing up. I did what I wanted to do. I took the easy way out a lot of times, and getting to be that, getting that confidence in myself to know that I can sell 20, 25 cars a month. That would be the game changer for me.
Which I think
that's what hurts me the most, because I know he can. Because I watch every
he
single
probably
week
knows
he
knows
can do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
They have a lot of confidence in it.
I've talked to Gentry before that I've almost halfway been an idea of betting on you as a salesperson myself and MMG, of not marketing for Gary Crosley as a whole, but marketing for you.
Yeah.
That I saw what you did, that everything that we touched marketing wise to you turned to gold.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason for it. And that's the thing is, like, I think work ethic is something that, yeah, people have.
Yeah.
It's an it factor. But work ethic, I think, is driven from that drive spark that I feel like everyone I know, as everyone's like, I've always had a high level like work ethic.
Right.
But my drive has always been very high.
Yeah.
What the outcome is I'm looking for, I understand I have to put a very high input to get the output. Where it's like when you want the output of 25 cars a month, what does the input look like to achieve that? Where it's really easy to say that it's like last week of the month, this is like, okay, I got to bust down, I got to do all this stuff. But when you figure out that this is what I need to do weekly to achieve that, like whatever that goal is that you're trying to get to, reverse engineer that to what you need to do daily, weekly. And then you can, I was always the analytic, like, I mean, sales side, buying cars, everyone always made fun of me with my yellow notepads, but it was like, I mean, it was a math problem to me. Like I was never the best reader in class. I was never the best like writer. Math and science was my jam. Yeah. When I started selling cars, I figured out like all I need to figure out is what my closing ratio is, how many people I got to call, how many appointments I need to set, how many people I need to put in front of me. And then I know the math problem and I know exactly it's a science of how many cars I could sell a month. And
weird how you talk about that. We talk about it all the time. Right?
All the time, yeah.
It's literally a math problem.
It is.
Everything
Numbers
you can
game.
tie to a math problem.
Tell me that all the time.
All the time.
And I think a lot of times it's hard to formulate in the beginning. When I first started selling cars and I first came into TDR, my dad, I didn't get hot leads. He gave me all the trash stuff and he goes, you figure out how to sell these. And then what happens right out the gate, I'm making phone calls and then dad calls everyone in and starts playing my phone calls live in our sales meetings. I look like a complete dipshit. If my dad wasn't part of that, I would have walked out. No questions asked.
Made you better though.
It did. Like that's when I actually at that part is when I started doing the Joe Verde training. I started doing Grant Cardone training. I started doing every bit of training because I'm like, I'm not going to be that guy anymore.
Yeah.
You want to talk about something that was embarrassing? I'm not going to say it was humbling. I'm going to say it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like it was something I absolutely hated it. I was so mad at my dad for doing it. Like I come to sales meeting feeling great on a Monday.
Yeah.
He pulls this up. He's like, listen to this shit. I'm like, sitting there. I'm like,
who took this call?
I'm like,
Weird.
Just destroyed me. I'm like,
Dane.
dude, that deal was 200 days old. I know the guy told me to fuck off. Dude bought 3 cars since last time he came here. But after I started doing that, it made it to where it's like my numbers I'd originally figured on how I had to sell cars were so off. So once I actually started talking to people that wanted to buy cars, to where it made my equations once I moved forward much easier and much more achievable. But it's like, it's hard sometimes when you're getting somebody that's telling you to fuck off one after another. So the way I started formulating in my head was like, okay, every single one of these people, if I call 10 people and they tell me to fuck off, I get one deal out of it, every one of those phone calls was $100. I would get off that phone, that person's like, fuck you, I don't want to buy a car, blah, blah, blah. And I hang up. I'm like, $100. I'm like, on to the next one. And I put dollar signs on my little yellow paper. I'm like, that's made $100. So I'm like, I called the next person. Tell me the same thing. I'm like, $100. That's made $100. Like, that's how I formulated. But that car I did sell, that maybe made $1,000 on or whatever, paid for all those other deals. Right. To where it's like, that was just me. That's how I positioned it in my head to make sense. That was like,
no equals $sign. As soon as you figure that stuff out, sales in general, it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're selling, I've done it. Sold water, I've sold cars, I've sold discount cards, I've
Roofs.
sold roofs. I've sold it, right? Yeah. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. The process and the work that you have to put into it is all the same. Like you're saying, as soon as you learn that, and when you get good, and just being good is knowing I need to make 20 phone calls to set 10 appointments to get 5 people to show up to sell 2.5 cars, right? Once you figure all that stuff out, man, it's so much more fun. It's so much more easy because it's just pick it up, put it up, there it is. Bam, they're coming in. Bam. Now just do it. We're there for a long time, right?
Yeah, sure.
I will say I was also given a little bit of a golden ticket getting to watch sales for quite a while before I got into it. So when I got into sales, Jamie and I didn't get along real well. So That was
Most of the time.
most of the time. But Dad also came back in the back, had damn near break us up from getting in a fist fight in the service drive a few times. But
Yeah, well,
it was
That happened.
Jamie knew everybody that, hey, dude, that's my
He
so
was in
and
school
so's
most of the time,
brother's
so, you know,
cousin's
it's
third removed wife. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's Carney.
yeah. Who knows what happens?
Right.
But it was like, I had also been in that area for a long time. So
Yeah.
when we had people come in, there was a lot of conflict on who we were selling. And Jamie had been in the spot where you tell her salespeople, like, he's like, that's half my deal. They're like, okay. I'm like, he's like, that's half
Hey,
my
don't give
deal.
out my secrets.
He's like, that's half my deal. I'm like, fuck you, dude. So,
That was my fucking kindergarten teacher, asshole.
I
I don't give a shit.
Dad.
Yeah.
I drank with her buddy last night.
Yeah.
He said I could have her.
yeah, I'm like, dude, I know them like personally, like really well. He's like, no, I don't care. I know this person is attached to that person.
Did they ask for me?
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was.
Oh, yeah.
But I was very fortunate to get to see. I think Jamie was the gold standard of what was at TDR, and I got to watch it firsthand. So it gave me a lot of great knowledge, and I'm going to say at that time I was probably better at listening to Jamie than I was my dad, which once again,
Yeah,
like,
probably.
That's
like,
normal.
it was like, and once
But the
again,
great thing is I learned a lot from your dad.
yeah,
So you got it in a big circle way,
Yeah.
right? The same
But-
stuff your dad was trying to say, I would just present a little bit different. You got it.
yeah, which,
But yeah, it happened a lot.
but it was good times. It was a lot of learning,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of progression, a lot of things, a lot of good things came out of that. And I know when you look back on chapters, a lot of times people look back at negative things of chapters, and I look back at all the positive things of those chapters, and that's why everyone's sitting at this table.
Yeah.
So it's Justin, I'm beyond thankful to have you here.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Really. Yeah.
It's on all four fronts.
Right.
On just watching you become the person that you are, that you've never lacked positivity, which is, I mean, probably my biggest, you can ask everyone sitting in here that I'm a positivity freak. I hate negativity more than anything. And you were always that person at TDR when we were there, and I feel like you've carried that energy over to Gary Crosley Ford, and I think that you bring a lot of light to anyone's world that you cross.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And always enjoy having you guys on.
I always love being here.
Yeah, it's
Todd
always
said
fun.
something earlier
It's
this
fun.
week. I'm like, hell yeah, man. Let's
Yeah.
go.
The
I love
funny
it.
thing was, like, I was sitting there, I was like, I really just want to have drinks with those guys. And I was like, I need to have podcasts on Wednesday. I was like, you guys want a podcast on Wednesday? I was like, I get now 2 birds out, 1 stone. And it's just,
Extend a podcast.
I know. It's early days. I felt like podcasting was like a job thing. Like I had to do, and like it wasn't like I was nervous to podcast. Now it's like Wednesdays, like probably one of my favorite days of the week. I'm like, I get to have drinks.
Yeah.
I got to sit there and conversate with people
Yeah.
and like have
Yeah.
great conversations. Like it's a blast. Like,
Yeah.
and see, it's not as nerve wracking as you thought it was going to be.
No, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the big guy, comfortable chairs here. You know.
Big-
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
feel? How do you feel about that?
I give it.
Would
a
you?
9, I give it a 9 out of 10, dude.
9
Oh
out
my
of 10.
God.
Woo!
Wow.
That's pretty good.
It's almost like the Super Duty.
Nice big
Yeah.
old table. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit on the table.
No,
We're not little guys sitting here. You know.
No.
no, there's a lot of
Big
men on that
guys.
side of the table.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well,
actually,
man,
all the way
especially-
around the
I
table.
was thinking about that. I mean, yeah, we
So-
got the heavier side. But
Hey, now.
So, what would
We're
it
not
take
all
to get it
those
to a
dudes.
10?
What?
What would it take to get it to a 10?
I just feel like you don't give out a lot of 10s, and you know,
What about the chair
I'm
next to the
saying, like,
9?
For
Well,
you
yeah,
to buy
what about the
today,
chair?
what would it take to get it to a 10?
if I had an armrest.
Ooh, I got armrests.
Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a 10.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
a table now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Hey, maybe one day I'll be ahead of a table somewhere and I'll have a 10 chair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One day you'll have a 10 chair.
Yeah,
day.
not maybe.
But
I'm ready
You
for
will
the
there.
10 chair.
You'll be
Yeah.
there. Yeah, for sure.
any final thoughts?
I mean, bourbon was great.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Bourbon was
our-
great.
we didn't really-
Shout out to Holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday, great.
I think the
Great
smoked
bourbon.
was probably my favorite. They were all. I drink any of them. They're all great.
Yeah, you're good. Our conversation were too good. We kind of got off the whole whiskey
Sure.
Yeah,
tasting
no.
that we were going to
Probably
do with
maybe
it.
help the conversation.
Water
Thank
was
you.
really good.
Thank you for the bourbon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Drake. Water was great.
Good
Loved it.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was it? Water
Shout out
good?
to the old PO drinking water. You know what I'm saying?
Is that Ozarka?
Uh, This is
Ozarka. Shout out to Dirk on the Ozarka. He loves Ozarka.
Yeah,
Big fan.
it's good water.
Yeah,
Question.
I do have a final thought, and I do want to get this out because we keep going back to the PBR. And I love the fact I get to sit across from this guy every single day. And I love the fact that we get to do this once in a while. And I love this dude to death and chased him around this fucking countryside for a while. And I'm glad he's back on. But I do want to, and Dre, well, I love all you guys, really. Right. And I've got to work with all you guys, and it's awesome. But I do want to give thanks to Dirk because
You made it all happen.
Craigslist ad started all this shit. So it's
Yeah.
Great guy. Great
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you think about it, without Dirk, we all wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
exactly right.
Yeah.
I do want to give a
Yeah,
cheers.
for
to
sure.
I'll
Dirk.
cheers to that one.
Cheers to Dirk.
Hold up.
Get that
Oh,
water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ozarka. I love that stuff. Let's get 18 bottles a day.
One of
Hey,
my favorite sounds
question.
was your dad saying,
Quick final question.
Justin, Dirk's office.
You never really knew if
Yeah,
his
like,
tone was
well,
pretty the
yeah,
same.
I
Like,
loved it, dude.
You didn't know if
I
it came over the
fucking love
intercom.
it,
You're
dude.
like, oh, am I in trouble or am I not? Like, and you're like walking back. You're like, you come in. He's like, that buy? I'm like, was good. I was like, oh. Or it was like, why the fuck did you buy this? I'm like, that's a good buy.
That's a good,
That's a good buy. If he hated it, it was a good buy.
Fucking Dirk. I love it.
But that was kind of my key to buying cars. If I came back and I got yelled at a lot for it, always was going to be a
You're
good
like,
buy.
hold my beer, watch this.
Smart cars, great buy. Red truck. I mean, shout out Todd Crosley. He even drove up. I got yelled at by 2 people on that one. Sold
What
within
truck?
the red lower truck.
Oh, yeah. On the showroom?
On the showroom.
What
I,
the fuck is this?
Fuck, I almost bought that.
Yeah,
I didn't even ask Dad. I didn't ask Jamie nothing. I told that dude the first time he brought it up, I go, you ever sell that truck? I go, I want first shot at it. He comes up, tells me what he wants for it. I pay like $5,000 over MMR for it. And I'm like,
Sorry,
dude,
Brett.
Yeah. And I was like, I go, that car goes straight to the showroom. And this dude, car had never seen rain. This truck had never seen rain,
It's a
anything.
nice truck.
I was like, don't let detail even touch it. We'll photo it on the showroom. And was on the showroom, and my dad came unglued. Next morning, Todd comes walking in, I'm like, what's up, dude? And he comes in my office. I get it from that direction. Great buy.
Great buy.
Great buy. No, it was a baby blue Jeep Patriot with horse racing stripes on it.
It looked like a horse trailer.
Yeah. It looked like horse trailer.
Mustangs.
Yeah. Jamie, when we get to the sale, we're walking cars. He goes, whatever the fuck you do today, don't buy that. Whatever you do. So we're in the truck. We're driving back to the dealership. He's like, 14 Jeep Patriot. He's like, in lane 3, he's like, he goes, he's sitting there looking. He's like, what is this? I was like, you know that blue one you said not to buy?
Carolina blue with race horses running down the side of it. Yep. We got that.
I got it. It gets detailed. It gets put out of the front line. Day 1 of that thing touched the front line. This old lady walks in the front, rep steps, walks in the front door. Not a salesperson in sight. I'm like, the fuck's everybody at? So I get up, I walk out, and she's like, sir, can I look at that blue Patriot you guys have? I was like, you know what, man, that is a beautiful car. I'll grab the keys for you. I grabbed the keys. She goes, I've never seen anything like it. I go,
No one has.
She goes, that's probably
Except
one
for her, she still
she
probably
goes-
owns it because she can't
she
get out
goes,
of it.
probably want it. We didn't even sell the thing expensive. Dad wouldn't price it
I know.
any higher. I go,
Yeah.
how about we just price it in market with everything else? He goes, nobody want to buy that thing. We gave it away, still did amazing on it. Day 1, this lady would have paid whatever fair market was. She thought she would have paid over market for it. Literally, day 1, it sits out there, it gets sold. I'm like, I did the whole deal front to back. I papered the whole deal. I'm like, this lady's not getting away. And I go out and test drive it. I come back and my dad's like, I'm like, we're getting everything printed up on it. I'm like, I'll paper I'll do the front side, back side, the whole deal. And that thing is like zipping down the road. And my dad's like, 3 days later, he's like, where the fuck's that baby blue Patriot at? I'm like, already sold.
Already sold.
Already sold, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
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 Pull it up. Look at it. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah. I sold a green F-150. Jamie did. Do you remember the first vehicle you sold?
You were the green F-150 that I took in trade, got them back in.
Yeah.
My very first sale was 2 sale. It was a
Ooh,
white
show off.
Duramax and a Dodge Durango. great people. I ended up selling them like 10, 15 cars. Awesome people.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I feel like in the early days of TDR, when we focused on those really, really small things over and over and over, it was crazy that we had like all these people that were like, Jamie snagged mine when I go to college, and then he would say they're there.
Thank you.
They're his. Like,
Right.
I'm like, hey, I did a
Yeah.
good job
Yeah.
when I was there.
Yeah, why not?
But
Todd, what was yours?
Mine was a Ford Fiesta.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
A lot of my first sales, I still sell those people, but that's not one of them. I fucked that deal up royally. Had a good relationship, worked really hard, but I told him it had Sirius XM because there was a button there.
Oh, I hear this.
There's
I
a-
hear this story a lot.
Yeah,
actually.
it was a very valuable mistake, and I talk about it so much because it just goes to show that
I
You
think
know,
we
you-
actually kind of talked about
Yeah, I
today
think
because
we
we said
did.
product knowledge.
You
It's like,
never-
I'm really big at product knowledge.
if you don't know the answer for sure, it's okay to be like, hey, I'm not sure. I
I'll
mean,
find out.
in my defense, there was a Sirius XM button right there.
It has the capability.
It could have.
But you know
it was
what?
supposed
Wasn't
to.
built for it.
Just didn't get it.
Taking ownership, when I told him it had it, I was like, you know what? Surely to God there wouldn't be a button there without it not having it. So I had that thought in my head. I should have just stopped.
You know,
right there
I
and
think
been
you
like,
should
hey,
take
know
this to
what?
the highest powers in Ford. I think
Yeah.
you should work your way all the way to the very
guy.
tippy
He was
top.
actually a Kearney guy. Tim Haas, if you're listening, I still
apologize.
seriously. I mean, it still keeps me up some nights because I hate it because he was a really nice guy.
You know
One of
what?
the Premier Meats, I think. Is what he
You know
owned.
what? If
Oh,
he,
yeah.
if you
I
are
know.
listening to
Sam-
this
Sam-
right now,
Sam-
if you are
Sam
listening to
Bar
this,
Drive.
whatever vehicle you have, I will pay to put Sirius XM in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
We
paid
got
to
you.
put Sirius XM in it, but it was terrible.
We'll put
So
it in
had
your
a
current
little
vehicle
device.
too.
Yeah. No, he's really, really good guy. I messed it up. That was my first sale. What's yours, Justin?
So my first sale is somebody that's followed me through where we're at now, to Gary Crosley. It was Gloria, my mom. I still can't close her to this day.
He
You know what I mean?
closed his own mom when
Well,
she
every
did.
time.
Jamie.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Gloria, I
She's
love
a hard
you to
buy.
death.
you
Dude,
know?
the funniest thing
She's
was
like, you're absolutely not giving me a good deal.
That's awesome. Hey, can you
I
blind?
have knocked
To
every.
Gloria, because
Yeah.
she's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
She's ready to
Yeah.
great man. Cheers
Yeah.
to the fist.
Like,
Your babe.
Everyone but
Dude,
Justin's mom trust him.
Dude, the funniest thing was
I have gave you way
can
too
you
much
blame
for
him?
your
Yeah,
trade,
blame her.
and I don't have. I'm not making a penny.
Dude, the first when Justin comes in, there's this lady sitting at his desk. He's working this cardio. I'm sitting with Jamie, and he comes in. He's like, "She wants this, this, and this." And Jamie's like, "This is your fucking mom."
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though, dude. His mom's a killer.
Oh,
His
yeah.
mom's a killer. I love her to death.
Jamie
for it.
goes,
She's a cold assassin, dude.
Jamie
I
goes, "How
promise you,
close
she
is
can
the
buy some
deal?"
cars.
He's like,
Yeah.
he goes, "Dude, I don't know if you work here." He goes, "You can't even close your mom."
Still to this day, never have.
Nah, yo, I closed
Sold
her
her-
at
sold her 5 cars.
There.
Sold her 5 cars, never once. Had to split them all.
All split deals.
All
Yeah.
split deals.
With me, but I just
Thanks, Bob.
His mom walks out the front door with her
Yeah,
purse.
yeah. She's a sweet old lady, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she kicks her feet back.
She
Thanks,
sure likes
Justin.
those. Hey, she sure likes those free car washes. I'll tell you that much. Yeah,
No, she's
I love
awesome.
her
I
to
mean,
death. Yeah.
anytime you make a post, your mom is always
She
commenting
posts on
something
your-
bright. And,
She's always commenting on
Yeah.
all your guys' posts. I'm like, Mom,
yeah.
come on, man.
She's awesome.
Calm it
Don't
down a
tell-
little bit. I'm
No.
40 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
Jeez.
I'm right
loves
there
her
with her.
baby boy.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
She loves you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Moms
Yeah.
are awesome.
Yes. You know, just one thing I want to say is I'm very blessed to have come across you guys and to be working at the #1 Ford store in Missouri right now. You know, that's amazing from where I've came in my life to be with you guys, and and just knowing you, I've always looked up to you. You're probably 15 years younger than me or whatever you are, but like I said, I've always looked up to you. You've always been an awesome guy to me, man. And I appreciate all of you guys' opportunities that you gave me.
I appreciate that, and I've always looked at the people I bet on, the people I focus on, are the people that I see that have the right just people characteristics. All money aside, there's a lot of people I know with a lot of money that are shitty people. Right. There's a lot of people I know that have no money that are great people. Yep. That just people in general is what we need to focus on more as just a society.
Yeah.
And it's no matter where their financial stance is. And we all have the ability to make a difference in everything that we do. You talk to a lot of people week over week. My #1 goal I have every single day is if I can make someone smile, if that is the attendant at a gas station, if that is the waitress I have somewhere, if I can make their day, I make a difference in the world. So that was something that when I met you, I knew that you had that. I knew Jamie had it. I knew Todd has it. Everyone here, you're here for a reason. And you guys are all great people. And it's like, that's the number one thing that I focus on my whole entire life is just surrounding myself with good people. I don't care what anyone
You've done an
makes.
amazing job, just so I can say.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to think about you like motherfucking the computer trying to figure out Photoshop and figure all that shit into everything y'all do. It's fucking awesome. Same with Todd. Like, we kind of started in this business. I mean, the cool thing is that us three kind of all started around the same amount of time.
Yeah.
We're all different ages. There's about a good gap between all of us, really.
Mm-hmm.
But we all started at the same time, and we went through this and this and this and this. And it's just cool if you surround yourself with the right people, you're gonna get.
And it's funny, we all went through it all around pretty much the same doors.
Yeah.
Right. All in different places. Yeah. That it was. I don't know. I look at those chapters of life that you go through, that you learn the biggest things from. That sometimes it takes you passing those chapters to look back at those, to understand what you actually learned, and appreciate those things. And it's like, Justin, same thing with you. Like the things that you get to look back on now, and you can appreciate, like taking the hard path at those times. Same thing with everything that the three of us have been through. Like it's cool to look back on now that we can sit here and we can have drinks. And my question earlier was, once your probation ends, do you plan on ever drinking or anything like that again?
Oh, I'll have a drink.
Okay.
Yeah, I can have
I
a
want,
drink.
once you come off, I want, when you come back, that first drink, I want it on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a deal?
That's a deal.
That sounds like
Hell
fun.
yeah.
That's a hell of
All
a
right.
deal.
Sounds like in March we're doing it again, boys.
Yeah.
March,
Yeah.
we'll come on.
I want
We'll
some of
s-
that, I want
we'll
some of
set-
that good stuff. You know
We'll
what I'm saying?
set, I'll buy really fucking good. I'll buy a fucking bottles of Pappy for us.
Yeah.
$1,000+ bottle. We'll set it here and we'll drink it that fucking night that you can drink again.
I guess
Sounds
I'll
good.
come.
Okay.
Come in.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
But
It'll be
it's,
fun.
I commend you on everything that you've done, and you're doing good things.
I appreciate that. It
You're
means a lot.
standing right next to two amazing guys too,
I
that
love these guys to death.
that want good for you. So that's where I think that it's, once again, I think it's cool that we've, the way the world works, the way it puts you right where you're supposed to be 100% of the time. And it's, I mean, the crazy things that we've been through in the last few weeks, that I'm standing in spots that how the world puts you where you're supposed to be at that time. Pretty wild. It tests you. Tries to break you. You can't let it. So
The hard things are pretty easy with the right people. You know, so.
Bend and not break, right?
exactly. But keep killing it, Justin. I'm glad our table and our chairs are big guy approved.
If anybody's seeing this video, come see the big guy, Gary Crosley Ford. I'll get you taken
Yeah,
care of.
hell
you
yeah.
can find the big guy up there. Go up, see
Just
the big
ask
guy.
for the big guy, and they will
Yeah.
come get me.
They will know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
But thank you guys for joining tonight. Always much appreciated. And I'm telling you, that first drink is on here.
All right.
All right.
All right. Sounds great.
Hold it to it.
Thanks.
Right on.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for
Cheers.
joining.
Water.
SM3 Podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.